Hello, everyone. Welcome, and please be aware that we are delighted to have participants from different parts of the world coming together on a weekly basis, and we welcome you whether you're joining live or later on. Thank you so much for being with us for another session of the Spiritist Talk series promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation, held every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is my greatest pleasure to host today's talk, which will be presented by Yasco Aracava. And Yasco will be speaking on the topic Plurality of Inhabited Worlds, Homes for Spirits to Evolve. Yasko, it is so good to have you again with us here today. And for everyone else, let's give Yasko a very warm welcome. And Yasko, before we begin, please allow me to briefly introduce you. So, who's Yasko? Well, good friend, first and foremost, but an amazing individual, a biomedical researcher in the field of neuropharmacology. She has recently retired from the University of Maryland School of Medicine and is currently living in Santos, Brazil. She first engaged as a spiritist, as a member of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore, SSB, where Yasco was involved in several activities, including giving lectures and there, as well as other Spiritist organizations. And while she's still connected to SSB and to the US Spiritist movement in general, now that Yasco is in Santos, she's also an active member of the Centro Espírita Chico Xavier, where she participates in lectures, study groups, and mediumship sessions. For all of you who are here, please feel free to send your questions at any time during the presentation by using the chat window because Yasko has set some time at the end to address your comments and questions. Yasko, thank you for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much to everyone uh, for this kind invitation from the US Spiritist Federation. It's really an honor to participate in this important mission of the Federation to spread Spiritism outside of Brazil, from the United States to the whole world, Europe in English version. So thank you so much for the invitation. It's a true honor to be here. Thank you. So the theme for discussion today is plurality of inhabited worlds, homes for spirits to evolve. Jesus, as described by John 14, 1 to 3, says, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may also be." Very comforting affirmation for us. So we say, what will be the purpose of the divine creation of so many worlds, as said by Jesus? Is to serve as diverse schools for spirits, us, to fulfill the law of universal cooperation and solidarity. We have to learn it, where the more involved help the less developed, is extending a hand to them, illuminating the path, and thus fulfilling the divine determinism of all progressing to the condition of pure spirits through their or our successive reincarnations. This solidarity, law of solidarity, applies to all creatures of different kingdoms, as we see here. We have a forest that is a mother tree, a large and old tree that it communicates and provides nutrients to other younger trees or even diseased trees through an underground network of fungi called mycorrhizal fungal network. It's almost an internet, is a World Wide Web facilitating the exchange of nutrients such as water, carbon, minerals to the fungi. In return, to the fungi gives this chance to be absorbed all these nutrients. In return, this fungal system receives back the sugars that needed for its energy, survival from the trees. So it's a symbiosis from different creatures from different kingdoms. Well, why would divine will place these distant regions in the vastness of the world? Why so many stars, planets, galaxies? The Milky Way is one of the almost 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. Imagine 2 trillions. Our Milky Way has 100 to 400 billions of stars. If you consider that one star has 1 or 2, in average, 1 or 2 planets, so you imagine how many planets we have in the universe. This number may even increase it. It is said that there are more planets than the whole sand that is, the grain of sand that is in the planet Earth. Imagine how many. Emmanuel, through Francisco Cândido Xavier, in the book called Emmanuel, in the chapter called Doctrinating Science, chapter 16, says, despite the lens of your telescope, so pay attention the year this book was published, 1938. 1938, we didn't have Hubble, and we didn't have the James Webb telescope, which are the spatial telescope which orbited outside of Earth. At that time, we may have a small telescope, very weak, put on the surface of the Earth. It started putting the Atacama Mountain, that desert, because the air is cleaner, but still is our observatory on the surface of the Earth. Only in 1990s, the Hubble was put on the space. And now in 2005, it was put the James Webb. So even that time, Emmanuel says to us, despite the lens of your telescope, which reveal in the immensity the lens of the sky, it is wrongly believed that only your world offers habitable conditions and that only there is the flourishing of life seen. Be humble. This is because one doesn't recognize that the tiny Earth is merely an obscure and opaque point in the celestial concert, and nothing unique exists on it that grants it exclusively the privilege of life. So we are thinking that we are the one. God is only looking at us, create everything for us. He says, no, be humble. To view this distant world solely as objects of study of your astronomy is a mistake. So Emmanuel goes beyond the physical orbs. He says, pay attention, there is more than that. On their surface, atmospheric and other phenomena are observed, the explanation of which is inaccessible to your understanding. There are countless worlds, many of them formed of rarefied fluids, currently unreachable by your optical instruments. There are other dimensions. He didn't say yet the spiritual, other dimensions, still material, but so rarefied that you it's gonna take a long time for you to be aware of this or be to catch this by your instruments. Each represents but an obscure detail in the boundless expanses of life, a region of bitterness, trial, and exile. So now he's saying this is a home. There are homes for you spirits, immortal spirit, for trial, expiation. However, it must represent for all who inhabit it a blessed school where the guilty spirit is regenerated and where it prepares itself, striving for a glorious future. It's a school. Sometimes works as a hospital, but usually it's a school. So trials, tests, expiations are part of our education, moral education. In this book, The Religion of the Spirits, is one of the series 5 books that were published around 1960 to commemorate the 100 years of publication of the books of the codification. So, Religion of the Spirits, Emmanuel is the author, but he invited many other spirits, André Luiz, May, Humberto de Campos, to discuss about some parts of the Spirit's book. And there, in the chapter called The Plurality of the Inhabited World, chapter 78, it says, beyond the observable physical field by incarnate man, naturally bound to the limited range of perception proper to them, there are more complex spiritual spheres that surround each planet. So there are other dimensions, as well as each system, solar system, even galaxies. They develop through unimaginable evolutionary degrees, and we must recognize that in alluding to the plurality of inhabited worlds, we should not forget the infinite range of vibration and the multiple states of matter. So all different level frequencies of energetic vibration, even the matters that is so subtle that we think is nothing, is only energy. Thus, an immeasurable space we have, in the measurable space we have cradle world, the experience world, university worlds, the temple worlds, workshop worlds, and reformatory worlds, hospital worlds, and prison worlds. For each of the spirits in different stage, the incarnation in that orb may represent experience, university, religious temple, workshop, reformatory, hospital, or even jail. In the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 3, Categories of Inhabited Worlds. Primitive, trial and expiation, where we are now. Happy world, I don't know how to have an image, but because it's difficult. So I put here is Mozart's house on Jupiter, which is considered a happy world. So it's a beautiful house, very diaphanous, like a glassy type of, with imprintings of all the musical instruments. It is this photograph is in the Spirits Review 1858, in the end of this review. So we have the first three words, primitive words, words of expiation, trials, and regenerations. We have only imperfect spirits. It's called the third order, imperfect spirits. In the primitive worlds, we have the first incarnations of the human souls, very beginning. We don't know even is nomad, we don't know how even to use some tools yet. Then there is a world of expiation trials, our stage now, where evil dominates, unfortunately. Words of regeneration, which we wish to enter, in which souls that still have something to expiate draw new strength, resting from the fatigues of the struggle. So in the regeneration, it's not that we're not going to be a bad person, make some mistakes, slip some again, but we immediately recognize that we made a mistake. So we want to repair. We want to say, to ask for pardon, forgiveness. So we don't let that mistake be developed to an expiation. We solve the problem immediately because before we were very proud and very high vanity egotism, so we don't pay attention, we don't ask for forgiveness, we think we are all right. But now, no, in the regeneration level, we already are humble, meek, pacific. We recognize immediately our mistake. So we try to repair our relationship, our mistakes. But still imperfect. Happy words, where goodness surpasses evil, where the good spirits, the second order, are there. Happy words, Saturn, Jupiter in our solar system are considered happy worlds. Celestial or divine worlds, homes of the pure spirit, spirits, first order, where goodness exclusively reigns. Those are close to the level of Jesus. They are already co-creator, like Jesus was, to God, to create new orbs, to follow the development of the inhabitants of the newly created world. So there is between all these worlds, we don't get stuck in one place like planet Earth. There is spirits migration in groups, and solidarity is always the key word, the key action. We have to have this thing in mind, not only among inhabitants, there is solidarity, but between the orbs, like we're going to see. So in the Genesis chapters 11, called the spiritual Genesis, there is a part called the Adamic race. And Emmanuel in Chico Xavier, in the book On the Way to the Light, he talks about the Adamic race. It symbolized Adam's, the spirit that was exiled from the paradise, from the world more developed, and came to the very primitive stage of Earth because of some problem. So Emmanuel says, what was the problem? Many millennia ago, around to 12,000 years, one of the orbs of Capella, which shares many similarities with Earth now. So going to the regeneration level, reach the culmination of one of its extraordinary evolutionary cycles. Several millions of rebellious spirits existed there. We have here too, hindering the general evolutionary path and obstructing the hard-won achievements of those people full of pity and virtues. But a general cleansing action would remove them from that humanity. So it's the loss of the paradise. So they had to leave that orb Capella that was going to the regeneration level world and be quote unquote degraded to a primitive world, which 12,000 years ago was the situation of the planet Earth. Jesus, in his full love, received these spirits and affirmed that they would be taken care with all the protections. Then the great spiritual communities, directors of the cosmos, decided to allocate those entities who had become persistent in crime here on distant Earth, where they would learn to achieve, through pain and arduous work in their environment, the great conquest of the heart, and simultaneously promote the progress of their inferior brothers. Solidarity. It was thus that Jesus received, in the light of his kingdom of love and justice, that multitude of suffering and unhappy beings. So you remember that when Adam and Eve were caught by God because they ate the fruit of that the tree that they were not supposed to, he said, now you, Eve, is gonna suffer the pain to bear a child, and you, Adam, will carve the work in the earth to in the agriculture with your hard muscles, because when they left Capella, there was machine for agriculture. There was no need anymore for hard work. And the women, they could have the grace of the anesthesia, analgesic, good hospitals to relieve the pain, but not now. Now, 12,000 years ago, nothing of this was available. So that's how this race is called Adamic, to symbolize Adams, and this Adamic race is spread to whole Europe and came to North America and South America. In question 172 of the Spirit's book, are all our different corporeal existence lived on Earth? No, not at all. Not all of them. They may be lived on other worlds. There's some here of the solar system. Those on this globe are neither the first nor the last, but they are of the most material and the farthest from the perfect. They say that we, planet Earth, are really lagging behind in terms of moral development and perfection. We are really attached to the material pleasure and mistakes. Talking about how the different planets and their inhabitants are in different state of evolution, we always ask, is Earth, is Mars like us? Is Saturn like us? Is Capella, whatever? So we have a hint already. So in question, but not that time, in question 55, Kardec asks, are all the globes that circulate in space inhabited? Yes, and the man of earth is far from being, as he believes, the first intelligence and goodness and imperfection. There are therefore men who believe themselves to be very strong and who imagine that this tiny globe has the exclusive privilege of containing rational beings, pride and vanity. They think that God created the universe only for them. God populated the worlds with living beings and all collaborate towards the ultimate goal of providence. Ultimate goal of providence. To believe that living beings are confined to the single point we inhabit would be to question the wisdom of God, who does nothing in vain. So very beautiful. Don't be so silly. 56. Is the physical constitution of the various globes the same? We now know because of the image that the telescopes bring to us, but at that time, no. So they ask, what is the physical constitution of these globes? They're the same. No, they're not alike at all. Since the physical constitution of the world is not the same for all, does it follow that the beings, the inhabiting beings that there have a different organization? Because we barely survive. If something changed a little bit in the planet Earth, the temperature, the atmosphere of oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, we die. So they say, no, undoubtedly, just as in your world, fish are made to live in the water, birds in the air. We, human, cannot go live in the air or in the water. So in the same way, we have to be in the correct environment and have the correct constitution, physical constitution. So just for the to see more or less the difference, Jupiter and Saturn, those are giant gas planet, extremely cold, minus 110 and 140 degrees centigrade, with atmosphere reaching hydrogen and helium. So not suited to this body, organic body, right? If we go, has to go in another way as a spirit, as with some discarnated. Venus and Mars, rocky planets with atmosphere of near 95% of carbon dioxide. Our level of carbon dioxide has to be very little here, very little. Otherwise, we die. If there is trouble in some equipment, and carbon dioxide will kill us. Venus' atmosphere is extremely dense, 92 times that of Earth. So we're gonna be smashed with this body. And hot, 482 degrees centigrade. Mars' atmosphere is very thin and cooler than Earth. The reddish color of Mars is due to an iron oxide called ferrohydrite that forms in moisture. That's a very interesting discovery because we know that ferritin that is in our blood, that is the main protein that catches the iron, it only forms in the dry environment. So if it was found this one, hydrite, in Mars, Mars had water or humidity before, right? So it was a great discovery. Sun serves as meeting place for pure spirits from where superior thoughts and feelings would radiate to the various worlds. We heard that Jesus had some meetings there with the pure spirits. So, if the physical body has to be suited to these different characteristics, physical characteristics of the different globes. How about the perispirit? Even the discarnated, from the perispirit of discarnated one. Like if I discarnate, I want to visit Saturn, Mars. Am I allowed to? Can I go really with this perispirit that came from the planet, according to the planet Earth? So we ask, Chico, Emmanuel took him far. What kind of perispirit he was enveloped? So in the Kardec, the Spirit's book, they say the moral evolution of the spirit is reflected in the refinement of its perispirit through the experience and lessons of each incarnation. The perispirit becomes more subtle and vibrant as the spirit acquires virtues and elevates thoughts, while imperfections and vice make it denser and coarser. Thus, the state of perispirit is an indicator of the spirit's moral evolution, with denser perispirits attracting the individuals, incarnate or discarnate, to lower worlds, and more subtle, pure perispirits to higher spiritual spheres. So our perispirit is comparing to the other high spirit is very dense. So we are not able to go to much higher, more evolved orbs. 94. Where does a spirit get its semi-material envelope, which is the perispirit? From each globe's own universal fluid. Each globe has its own universal fluid according to the physical and moral development of that orb. That's why the perispirit is not the same on all worlds. In passing from one world to the other, spirits change their envelope just as you change your clothes. 186. Are there worlds on which the spirit no longer lives in a material body and only has the perispirit as its envelope? Yes. And that envelope itself becomes so ethereal that to you, it is as if it did not exist at all. You think it's just the spirit, the flame, the essence. It is the state of the pure spirit. So now I'm gonna say very quickly, in the Spiritist literature, we have some account about about how is the life in this other world, other orbs. So in the Spirit's Review, 1858, the Spirit George talks about Mars. In this Bezerra de Menezes, the story of a dream, he talks about Venus. Chico Xavier, through his mother, Maria João de Deus, talks about Mars and Saturn. And in the book Genesis, in the chapter 6, General Uranography, Galileo, through the medium Camille Flammarion, talks about these different orbs in the system. He also published Camille Flammarion, Urania, published Urania. So I'm going to talk about Mars and these two books, Letters from a Dead, from Chico Xavier's mother, and a New Message from Humberto de Campos. They talk about Mars and coincide very much the description of those both spirits. So it says, within the Martian atmosphere, we experience. So she was taken to Mars with the aid, of course, of her mentor. We experience an extraordinary sensation of weightlessness. In the distance, I glimpse fantastic cities of unparalleled beauty, those whose buildings in some way remind me of the Eiffel Tower or the most daring skyscrapers of New York. Powerful machine as if propelled by new elements of our helium. It's not exact helium. Swayed near the clouds, displaying a vast sense of stability and harmony among the air forces. I saw men like our earthly brothers, but their bodies possessed appreciable difference. Besides their arms, they had slight protuberance along their shoulders, like wings, which bestow upon the interesting volitional faculties. They are unfamiliar with the phenomena of wars, and any social scourge would be an unbelievable event among them. Here is so common, right? Doesn't take much for us to declare some wars. They have evolved without the collective, bitter, and terrible expiations that torment the non-submissive peoples of the earth. So we are in expiation because we have been in constant conflict and wars against our own brothers. They evolve more quickly because of this. All the major centers of this planet, Mars, explained our friend and spiritual man, feel troubled by the harmful influence of Earth. So we are bad influence to them. It's the bad neighbor that makes all the noise, horrible events inside the home. The only orb with an unhappy aura in their immediate vicinity, and for many years they have been sending message to our globe through light waves which are confused with cosmic rays. So we are bad neighbors. They are very concerned about if we gonna start a nuclear war. They are our neighbor. So this book is called The Story of a Dream by Bezerra de Menezes. His pseudonym is Marx. He published in the magazine called the Reformador from 1896 to 1897. So very close to the end of his life. He died in 1900. Then, in the end, they collected all this publication, this monthly publication, they put in this book. So he is describing his life incarnation way there before. As I napped, my eyes were fixed on the beautiful star. He calls the star the Venus. And I dreamed of it. It seemed as if my whole being merged into a winged thought, soaring to ethereal realms without ever leaving my body. So he used to go there in little nap. He goes outside of the body, and the emancipation, and he would have this vision. So he wished to have more thorough dreams or emancipation during the night. So his wish was granted, and there the book was all this publication. So his mentor, I forgot his name. So he was with him and allowed him to go to Venus. So Bezerra says, I glanced upwards and saw the symbolical ladder penetrating the space, still clouded at my feet, but diaphanous above, luminous above. Twilight below, very dark, beyond and evermore, until it became tenebrous. So he was in the middle, above very light, down there very dark. But his mentor said, You have already emerged from the darkness, but see what you were. So he wants Bezerra to see what he was when he was in the darkness. Immediately, as if an invisible hand had torn a veil from my eyes, I saw with great clarity a picture with countless scenes in which I had always been the protagonist. What a horror! I found myself swimming in a sea of blood, which my ferocious weakness fed on with the new flesh it tore. I was the tiger, the jackal, the hyena, the venomous serpent that populate the forests and deserts of primeval age, way behind. I was 1,000 times worse than all the beasts combined because they spill blood to satiate their hunger, and I do satiate hatred and vengeance. You see how bad he was, how animal he was. And now he's our beloved Savior, Bezerra de Menezes. So we have some hope. Continuation. He says, imagine as a wretch whose brain is nothing but smoke, with no ideas, thoughts, or feelings, but with awareness of existence. It's a vacuum, but I know I'm existing. This is what I call my awakening from beyond the grave, the awakening of all those who, living only for material things, end up convincing that beyond this life nothing else exists, only nothingness. I have been reborn, but I don't even want to say how many centuries I spent in this indefinable state. Centuries. One day, confused sounds of human voice reached my ears, and as soon as my eyes opened, I saw at the distance a respectable figure of an old man whose features reflected ineffable kindness of heart. What is this? Where am I? And the old spirit said, I am a spirit, and you are another, the old man answered, and you are in space, which is the world of spirits. I spirit? Me? I spirit? And feeling myself, I recognized that I no longer had a physical body. I died. So does man survive death? Is he not reduced to nothingness? What a discovery. So that is the story of Bezerra, which is a relief that we will reach our perfection. In Genesis, they say, chapter 18, the time has come. How to inherit the world of regeneration. In item 5, humankind has made incontestable progress. Due to their intelligence, humans have achieved results never reached before regarding the science, arts, or material well-being. There is much progress yet to be made, however. They have yet to make charity, fraternity, and solidarity reign amongst them to assure their moral well-being. They could achieve this neither with their beliefs nor their antiquated institution, remnants from other epoch, good for certain time, which were sufficient for a transitory state, but which, after having given what they could, would be a hindrance to that. So not get stuck with this old ancient beliefs and institution. What people need nowadays is not only to develop their intelligence, but elevate their sentiment. And for this, they must get rid of everything that hyper excites their selfishness and pride. We have to get rid of it. In planetary transition, let me see what that, in planetary transition, which we are now transiting from the trial expiation to the regeneration, hopefully, are we exiles? Are we going to be exiled or heirs of Earth? Are we going to come back to Earth? In the sermon, the Beatitudes, in the Sermon of the Mountains, one of them it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." Are we meek? Are we humble? Are we pacific? We are in a mood to pacify any conflict? Do we have, are we thirsty and hungry for justice, for others? How far are we? Are we wheat or tares? Are we going to put to burn in the end, tares? Or are we going to go to be put in the barn to feed people and the animals? It's a question to be answered. But they say, it is 27, for people to be happy on the earth, it must be populated only by good incarnate and discarnate spirits, because we attract the discarnate spirits too, to the dimension close to the earth, because it's all energy, affinity, synchronicity. Once such a time has come today, there will be a great emigration from earth. Those who practice evil for evil's sake and who are untouched by the sentiment of good will no longer be worth of the transformed planet. They will be banished from it. It's like what happened to Capella, to the Capellans. So we have to be touched. We are all, because although we make mistakes, we feel sorry. We have this sentiment of good, to do good. We feel sorry. Some will expiate their hardness of heart on less evolved worlds outside of the planet Earth. Others will do so among primitive race here on Earth. Still, Earth has heterogeneous inhabitants, so they still have some primitive races here. They will bring with them the knowledge, which we have a lot, they have acquired, and we will have a mission to enable the races to advance, those more primitive ones to advance, like the Capellans did for us 12,000 years ago. We became Homo sapiens sapiens. They will be replaced by more advanced spirits, here coming more advanced spirits, who will work for justice, peace, and fraternity to reign. 33. The regeneration of humankind, therefore, does not absolutely require spirits to be completely renewed. No, we're not going to be suddenly a pure spirit, a good spirit. No. But a modification of their moral disposition is sufficient. How to define a good spiritist? Is the effort that we make to get rid of our vice and to do good effort. Thus, those who come back to earth are not always other spirits, but frequently the same ones, us, who now think and feel in a different way. Hopefully, we will deserve. When so will earth be a world of regeneration? When do you think? When, in my opinion, at least two things we have to get rid of. Hunger in this planet, which is a lot yet. Violence, wars, conflicts among brothers. while we still instigating those two, hunger and violence, we are still far to transit to the world of regeneration. So when solidarity, fraternity, love prevails over pride, egotism, selfishness, vanity. May the light you live illuminate the path of others. Are we living some lights, even though a little match, a light of a match, to illuminate those that are coming behind? Because we are using the light of those that are ahead of us. They are our guide, Jesus being the most, the highest guide, mentor. Thank you so much for your attention.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Yasko. What an insightful and amazing set of reflections that you shared with us. And I know that I just cannot believe that you unpacked so much information in just 45 minutes. But, anyways, for all of you who are with us, please stay with us for the upcoming Q&A session with Yasko that will begin shortly. But I have a few announcements first. So we invite all of you to follow us on our social media channels so that you can stay updated on all the upcoming events and activities. Don't forget to visit the USSF bookstore at spiritistbooks.us, where you can find a wide selection of Spiritist books, including exciting new releases. Oh, by the way, the newest one is the book Joan of Arc by Leon Denis. Don't miss it. It's a wonderful book just released. And if you are a volunteer, if you work with Spiritist youth, or if you're just interested in education resources, be sure to explore the Family, Youth, and Children Spiritist Education FIXI website at spiritismkids.us, where you can find excellent materials and ideas for your youth educators. And take a moment to check out this Be My Hope app. I do have it, which offers inspiring daily messages that can uplift your spirit. It is available for free on both the App Store and Google Play. And now I want to turn our attention to your comments, your questions. There's still time to send yours. So please feel free to share your thoughts. And thank you, Yasko, for contemplating those questions.
Thank you.
So let's see what's the first one. So, Yasko, how does the law of collaboration in nature help us understand spiritual evolution, planetary progress, and the plurality? I can never pronounce it right. Plurality of worlds. I think you're talking about collaboration with. I love that concept, by the way, but love to hear you as well.
Yeah, it is more than what we imagine. This collaboration in the other kingdom.
Hmm.
It's especially those that are more microorganisms that you think they are nothing. No, they are a legion. They are legion of creatures that makes the network. You know,
Hmm.
to be the support. Sometimes it's just for physical support, like the
Hmm.
orchid versus the fungi. We don't know if it is a parasitism or no, but they say no, it's just for the support. And
Yeah.
who does the support to stick there is the fungi. So
Yes.
it's not a parasitism. It's not that this is taking some vital fluid from the tree, you know. So, but the fungi gets the nutrients and also gives also back some
Mm-hmm.
nutrients, some. It's still a new area of study, you know, that
Yeah.
changing. So, and also is if you see, it's difficult sometimes in the animal level, uh, all this chain, food chain. It seems sometimes very difficult for us to see. But if you don't need we don't have the predators, which they
Yeah.
are not, they're predators for our point of view, but they need to survive.
Yes.
We as a human beings, we know
Yeah.
already that we could avoid to kill some friends, you know.
Yeah.
But among them, that sometimes I have difficult to see those videos, you know. But it's a question of life and death, and they don't do to waste. It's just for
Yeah.
survival. So there is
Yeah.
all this food chain from the microorganisms to the big in the vegetable kingdom, like you
Yeah.
showed, you know, or to the animal kingdom. And of course, the humans
Yeah.
are the ones that disrespect
Yeah.
this solidarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time that we settled 10,000 years ago, we start to really fight with our neighbors for the land, for the crop, for that. Because before we are nomads, so we're gonna go and whatever we catch, we have, we eat. But once we establish, then becomes the selfishness. It's all for me, my family. Even
Yeah.
if I have an excess, I prefer to burn it than to give to you.
Yeah.
You know, so the us humans, in my opinion, sometimes we went downhill in this way. Don't you feel that?
I
Because we're supposed to know a little bit
yes.
more,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because the
And
animals don't waste.
yes, and I think, Yasko, competition, which you're talking about, the human experiment, if you will, exists. But if you think long term, that immortal journey that we all are in, I believe that competition in humans is just this uh, transitional mechanism for self protection, and that indeed collaboration is the overarching, enduring principle. And we'll learn when we
Because
see the benefits of that, right?
out of
Yeah,
pain, out
yeah,
of pain, in the
yeah,
end, we see it didn't work to
yeah,
compete and to grab everything for me. I need friends
yeah,
in certain occasion, more
yeah.
friends than money and land.
Hmm.
So, but it's through pain
Yeah,
because that's why we lagging behind immoral.
yeah.
If you don't have, but we getting more solidarity, fraternity, love is much, much.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. And just one more thought to that is, if you pivot this discussion as, as we grow as a society, as humanity itself, but pivoting to perhaps Joanna de Angelis, she speaks at length about the idea that collaboration in psychological health, right? Because we know that we all need to live. We are biosocial animals, and we really need to live that mutual dependency, that collective experience. So Joanna often talks about isolation, loneliness, etc., and how those components of a life that would be exacerbated by the competition that we live through
Pleasure.
will lead to suffering. But
Yeah,
anyways, yeah, this is awesome. Um, I see here the other question. What are your thoughts? We're just speaking about Joanna. So, what are your thoughts to Joanna de Angelis' approach to the topic when she reframes the concept symbolically? Every soul experiences an Adamic moment when consciousness awakened to ethical responsibility. So, I think this is in reference to when you're talking about diademic races and how she brings that from a psychological perspective. Any thoughts?
Yeah, first, Adam and Eve is symbolic of our attitude.
Yeah.
No, is I say, well, when people say, no, but it was your father. Look, the tercerization is biblical, I always say.
Yes. Yes.
Since Adams, one say, no, not me, it's you. The other. So Adam said, no, it was Eve. Eve said, no, it was the snake.
Yes.
So don't personalize your duty, because so it is psychologically built. I don't know because I don't know about psychology, but is this built since when in this incarnation? It's the babies are selfish, but in when this has to be managed in a
Yeah.
way to be,
Hmm.
to be the conscious be awakened to the others. Not only me, I'm not the only one here. People are
Hmm.
not here to serve me like the baby,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I have to have, but that moment of awakeness, Adam and Eve, they were shamed. They
Yes.
knew they made a mistake.
Yeah.
So they knew already that what was wrong and what was good. So the free will was clear there.
Yeah.
Not that they were before that. No, they knew. So they were at the stage where the free will could be applied, thus the responsibility for their decision.
Beautifully said. To me, when you talk about Adam and Eve leaving the Garden of Eden, leaving the stage of ingenuity, right, naivete, if you will, into that moment of now I am no longer simple and ignorant, but I am out to the world in learning free will, as you mentioned, and responsibilities. I love what you said, Yasko. I think it's also the question of self awareness, right? Law of action reaction, where we must recognize the consequences of our choices, but also, as you said, that moral awakening, that consciousness that is awakened.
And
Beautifully
you
said.
want to
Yeah,
use
yeah.
the free will. If you say, well, better not to use the free will so I don't have the responsibility. There is no situation like this. The kid is
Absolutely.
said, no,
Yes.
why not? I want to, So we want, thank God we have this drive to want
Yes.
to
Yes.
say something, to,
Yeah.
to decide. But
Yes.
the consequence also. That's a beautiful, beautiful teaching.
Yes.
Beautiful, really. Yeah,
Yes. Absolutely.
yeah.
I think, oh goodness, we have another one. Time Magazine has an article this week, so very timely, saying scientists worry about breaking news about life in space because the public could be frightened or skeptical. How can Spiritism help ease these concerns? I love the question.
Yeah.
Whoever sent, beautifully put.
With our organic body, it's very difficult to get out from the
Yeah,
planet Earth. Even to
yeah,
go to the moon,
yeah,
it is very close.
yeah.
And to the part of the moon that is facing the
Hmm.
sun, because there is the other side of which nobody knows what is there, which is
Yeah,
darkness. And it's so close. We're not able to.
yeah,
So to go there is more difficult. In they try in Mars, but at what cost? Only to be in the orbit. Now they are finding that affected their physical body, even the age.
yeah,
Those two astronauts, the twins, one way stayed there in the station.
yeah.
So, and there is no technology sufficient to put so many reasonable number of people there. The only way is to go if we are discarnate. Even that, if we deserve for some
Uh-huh.
high spirit to give us a proper envelope of perispirit and
Yes,
take us in their vibe, like
yes,
Emmanuel took Chico
yes,
Xavier. the
Yeah.
mentor of Maria João de Deus or Bezerra.
Yeah.
So otherwise we don't go, you know. So, but people are worried about now with this exile.
Yes.
Are we going to come back to the planet Earth? Are we going to go to the inferior, primitive, dark side of the moon? You know, they're
Yes.
worried
Yeah.
about. No,
Yeah.
the majority of us, like they said, you know, we are good people with good intention. We already developed
Hmm.
that.
Uh-huh.
So we are in a stage that we can contribute to planet Earth through their inhabitants
Yeah.
to transit to the world of regeneration.
Yes. Yes.
Very few ones that we don't want even to mention their names because they made some massacre. They don't want to change it. They still think they're going to continue those spirits that are very renitent with
Yeah.
that mono idea. We know some in the mediumistic meeting or the spiritist literature. Those, there is no way because they will be a hindrance
Yeah.
to this transition of planet Earth.
Can
But
I
there is
say,
still,
yeah, when you're done, I just something popped in my mind, but go ahead. Yasko.
yeah, that so it's
Yeah.
interesting that yeah, we're gonna come back to here, but don't think we're gonna go to Sirius, much higher planet, to Saturn. No
Yeah.
way. We
Yeah.
don't have it. We don't have the moral advance, and we don't have thus the perispirit to go there
Hmm.
because you see the condition of that planet.
Yeah.
Completely different temperature, atmospheric pressure, the gas quality. We won't
Yeah.
survive, and there is no machine to take there
Yeah.
yet. You know, so,
Absolutely. But
so
I think, if I may, answer to the question, because it's a very insightful question,
yeah,
right? The question of fear. There's so fear or skepticism even to discuss the topic of today, right? The plurality of the worlds, and how Spiritism brings to us a very down to earth, practical awareness, understanding to us, to earth, to all of us collectively. And I think to help the public, talks like this are really important. So I just want to say, on behalf of the United States Spirits Federation, it is really good that that you're here, that you're sharing your thoughts, you're putting all the thoughts together so that we
yeah.
can have this educational talk to all of us, right? And I think we all need to reflect upon, right? What
The
is it that we,
Spiritist
yeah,
literature like Genesis is very helpful. They say
yes,
clearly, don't worry.
yes,
We doesn't need to don't need to be pure.
yeah,
You the way you are, just the intention
yeah,
is good for you to deserve to
yeah,
come here.
yeah,
I'm not the whole time meek. I'm not the whole time humble, but I know to be humble in certain occasion. You
yes,
know, I see that was bad when I let my pride overcome all
yeah,
these
yeah,
decisions. So only this willingness is enough. Is
yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
You know?
so it's all this internal inner voyage for everyone who's here. Listen to this, right? It's the internal voyage versus external, with um, stations wherever in Mars, etc., and the investment on equipment to do something that is just not necessary. But that made me think, and I'm afraid I may say things wrong. But what made me think was, I believe, in the third, fourth century, the emperor.
Cons-
Theodosius, and he was married to Theodora, I believe, and I may be butchering the name, so my apologies, everyone. But
Maximilian,
yeah, but
Maximilian.
I remember the Theodora, right? That
Yeah,
she had a interesting past, And when this whole discussion of Christianity that came about the a communication of spirits and immortality and reincarnation, she got quite afraid, and that was the one of the impetus for removing from the Bible the word reincarnation and replaced to resurrection. Right, and it has nothing to do with the question put forth, but I think that it's very similar. Yes, it's your fear. Yes, we can rewrite the scripture, but you cannot really rewrite God's will, right? Despite of all our fears, we need to be more
The
comfortable.
outside, out,
Yeah.
you won't believe, but outside of the Spiritism, the
Uh-huh.
Catholicism, and the evangelical side, you won't
Yes.
believe how many people
Yeah.
are cannot accept reincarnation. For
Yes. Yeah.
us, it seems a relief. This
Mm-hmm.
gift,
Mm-hmm.
reincarnation as a gift, but there are people that don't accept at all. They accept immortality,
Yes.
I ask why the fear? Why they don't accept reincarnation? It's like Theodora,
Yeah.
afraid of reincarnate in a bad condition. Is that the fear? That's why they don't want to think about? Because there are
Yeah.
many that don't want to think about reincarnation. And I cannot understand why. It should be fear. Am I
Yeah.
come now in a cripple? Am I come in a poverty? We see
Yeah.
in the Jeunistic meeting many spirits that
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
They are in a time to reincarnate, and
Yeah.
they are so afraid to reincarnate. But interestingly, some are so humble,
Yeah.
not afraid to have problems. No, they say, I may make it again the same mistake. That's what I'm
Yes.
afraid. I
Yes.
may fall in the same hole again. I
Yeah.
may do the bad that I did again. That's what I'm afraid of to reincarnate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is already showing how humble the person
Yes.
is.
Yes.
You
Yes.
are
Yeah.
already afraid of, you
Yeah.
know.
And
Interesting.
I remember, just so we know, it's the Justinian was the emperor, not the Theodosius. So
Justinian is Justinian,
Justinian, sixth
not
century.
Maximilian.
So yeah, so it's very interesting how we can think about how can we subscribe to fears. We, a person of high influence and power, the empress, or us in our very individual state, we should not be afraid to learn, to evolve, and even the concepts of the plurality of spirits with the worlds, right? Which is such an important
And
aspect.
it's important to
Mhm.
assure to them, you
Mhm.
coming even to other planets or not, like Jesus assured, you're not
Mhm.
gonna be alone,
Yeah,
abandoned,
yeah,
not gonna be abandoned. You're going
yes,
to be protected. We're gonna send you like they sent you at the time of the Capelinos,
yeah,
different place in India came all the prophets to help
yes,
them.
yes, yes, yes,
Jesus took care of all the details,
yeah,
coming to Egypt, coming to India,
yeah, yeah,
China, in Palestine. He said, I'm not going to abandon you. You're going to be protected. You're
yes,
going to have people to help you in this stuff, reincarnation, but not
yeah.
alone.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to continue our conversation. You even referencing After Death by Leon Denis with all the beginning of the initiated and the thoughts about reincarnation, etc. But Yasko, it is time for us to close our talk. I am just really appreciative of everything that you brought to us. This is how we all become more comfortable with things that may not be so easy for most of us, right? So thank you so very much,
Thank you
Yasko.
so
I wanted to, before we end, I just wanted to let you know that all of us are here to give Beyond Me our heartfelt thanks. right? To you,
Thank you.
Yasko, but to all of you who joined us for today's talk, as well as those that may not be here but continue to follow our weekly Spiritism Talk series. It is so important, and your engagement is deeply, truly appreciated. But as we say that, Yasko, we have another talk scheduled for next week. Please come and join us Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time when Glaucio Pessoa we explore the imperative of inner peace. Love the topic, by the way. And we do look forward to have you with us then. Yasko, before we close, could you please share any final remarks? And if there are no final remarks, please lead us in the closing prayer.
Thank you so much to everyone for this kind invitation. It's really an honor to talk and to discuss. I'm learning a lot while preparing those talks. So thank you so much to making me part of this mission of the US Spiritist Federation. Thank you so much. So let's go to the prayer. Let's close our eyes, serenading our mind with good thoughts, our heart with God's sentiments. Let our the best emotion take care of the whole body and mind. For us to spread a good vibration that could reach far away, many places, especially those where we find suffering brothers, zones of conflicts, wars, zones where hunger is there, killing so many people, especially kids. That our vibration, together with the blessings from the high spirits, could reach and alleviate these people that are enduring a very hard trial and expiation. But to be sure they are blessed, hopefully the word of Jesus could penetrate their community, their soul, and console them while passing through these proofs, trials, and expiation. Please protect and inspire all members of the Spirit's movement to assure a good word, the correct concept about Spiritism, the doctrine of consolation for the immortal spirit, hoping that we can touch the heart and the mind of people, especially those that are passing through conflicts, moral conflicts, physical problems, for them to see that they are not forgotten, that by prayers to the high spirits, to Jesus, to Mary of Nazareth, to God, you will find relief and go through this with resilience that all wish for. Thank you so much for everything, and so be it.